Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bells Must Ring podcast. I am your host, Andrew Rice, here with my usual co host, Arnav Sarkar. National Signing Day has come and passed, and 21 new Rutgers football players have been added to the roster, I guess. You know, 2 4 stars according to 247, a load of high 3 stars. Very excited about this class. It seems to be mostly offense, at least when we were breaking things down. I felt there was a lot more offensive players. There seems to be a little bit more of who we're excited for, a little bit more on offense as well. But recruiting class is in the books. Do you have anything to say, Arnav?
Yeah, I guess taking a broad stroke, but first of all, new background, Rutgers Stadium. But in terms of kind of mention that,
Yeah,
going
right.
on with the setting. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be back there till next year, I guess, unless we go for some other lacrosse or something in the spring or the spring game. But yeah, I mean,
You have to get the rack for any basketball centered
oh, true,
podcasts.
true, true. Yeah, definitely we'll do that. But yeah, I mean, it was a good season. I unfortunately fell short, but in terms of the recruiting, I mean, it looks pretty good. Overall rank is 44 in 247 as well as the composite. So taking account
Much
every
better than
player.
Penn State. I'll give us that.
It's been hilarious just seeing how bad the class is. That there's two people are committed, and James Franklin's flipping all of the Penn State commits, and hanging out with crumble cookies, and the whole thing has just become hilarious, and it's made me a really big James Franklin fan, which I never thought I would say in my entire life, but I'm really loving what he's done. Virginia Tech I've had no beef with. I've been there. It's a great place to play, but just the way that they're just negatively impacting Penn State is just really made me very happy, especially recruiting
Enter
wise.
Sandman
But yeah.
was the number 1 song on my Spotify Wrapped.
Yeah, it's just I've been seeing all those commitment posts, all the flips on Twitter, Instagram. I've been reposting all the stuff the best in Virginia stay in Virginia, and I'm like, yeah, they do. In Franklin we trust, and I'm like, well, we'll find out about that when they play a big game, but there might not be too many of those. So or there are different kinds of big games at Virginia Tech, I guess. So I don't know. I think he's doing a pretty good job. I've never really seen anything like this recruiting wise. This, the way he's been flipping this many guys, this many 4-star guys from the Nittany Lions. Obviously, it makes sense. He's taking them from Penn State to Virginia Tech, his new job. So that means a lot of people really believed in Franklin, and it looks like not a lot of people believe in Penn State because all the coaches have not, that have been rumored have not taken the job, and they've actually signed massive amounts of extension money at their current schools, which
Right.
has just been so funny. I mean, just seeing how many extensions have happened because of Penn State, and because of the whole coaching search and everything, all these other schools have had to pay so much money to lock them up. So, but yeah, I mean that's Penn State's recruiting, but for
Let's
us,
get
I
back on
mean,
track. Let's talk about Rutgers
yeah,
community
unfortunately, this
recruiting. This
is
is a
not
Rutgers
a Penn
podcast.
State podcast. It's a Rutgers pod. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, we had a pretty good class. Obviously, it's not going to be number one or top 10. We're not there yet. Which I feel like is a popular line that Greg
But we'll
Schiano
get
likes
there.
to say. We'll get there. I think he even said it again after this press conference that we'll
No,
get
we'll get
there.
into the press conference a little later, but he said a couple something similar.
Yeah, something similar to that. But anyway, I mean, recruiting wise, Jared Smith, I'm really excited about. Obviously, I think he was a 4-star on 3 or something, a high
He
three
was a
star.
4 star on 3. I was listening to the Night Reports podcast. If you guys don't listen to them, they're great. You should
Yeah,
listen to them. They mentioned that he is just an absolute he's just an absolute bulldozer. He'll run over anybody that's lined up across from him. And you see that on his film where he'll just absolutely flat back a guy.
yeah,
One of his tape, I think he pushed the guy 15 yards downfield. I'm like, that's something. That's something that you don't see. That you see something that you might see that
right.
in a movie, but you don't see that
Yeah, I mean that's
in real life, and it's just
right.
incredible.
He's
But
gonna be a starter here. I mean, he chose us over. I mean, he's a SEC caliber lineman who had SEC offers, and he chose the Big Ten. He chose Rutgers, not even
well,
Ohio
first
State.
of all, you're not going to like me that I'm interjecting here. Big Ten and SEC are on the same playing field. There is no SEC
Right.
caliber. Like,
I
get that
get that, but
nonsense out.
I mean, like, it's not a one-on-one comparison because I mean, like, you know what I mean? It's not like Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, and Michigan. It's Rutgers, Auburn, Georgia, and Georgia Tech were his offers, and he chose here
Well,
when
you
he
could,
could have
yeah, I
gone
was gonna
somewhere
say
else.
you could say you took him away from some blue blood programs down south. I have no problem with that, but SEC caliber, no.
Right. I understand what you're yeah, I get what you're going for. I guess my point is, like, he could have gone to Georgia, where they are this season, where they have been the last few years, like, he chose not to. I don't know, maybe in Georgia, like, he would have been another one of the another guy, like, had to work his way into a role here. Like, obviously, I would assume playing time would be easier. There's definitely a lot of benefits that come with Rutgers, but he also did mention, Pat Flaherty. He mentioned the
Well, you
offensive
have to mention
line.
Pat Flaherty because you have to look at the talent that Flaherty took and what he did with it. Now, if you can imagine that he could take like a higher base talent with better upside, imagine what he can do with that. I mean, the guy coached offensive lines through 2 Super Bowls,
Right.
so you
With
know,
my Giants, yeah.
yeah, with your Giants. So
Exactly.
he was able to take, maybe not low recruited guys, but he was able to take like mid 3-star guys like Zelinskius, Asamoah, Taj White. I mean, a couple of them could be 4 stars. Don't remember off the top of my head, but to my knowledge, most of them were just average 3 stars, and he
Right.
was able to mold them into a very hardy crew. If you look at the year before Flaherty got here, the offensive line was abysmal, and he took that offensive line and made it serviceable. Imagine what he can do you know,
This type of talent
with
coming
that
in.
type of talent and that type of upside.
I know, and the size too. I mean, 6'5", 335. I mean, just, like a mountain of a man, I guess, like, all the physical tools that you'd want, like, like I was saying, I guess, like, had the offers to go to Georgia, places like that. That's where he's from, Georgia Tech, Auburn. But, coming up to Rutgers, he mentioned Flaherty. He mentioned, I think he mentioned that Rutgers, like, pushed for him. They, showed him the most love. And obviously that means a lot to recruits, because that's where you're going to want to go. Like, if you're spending your years of college there, I mean, you're going to want to go and play, at a place where the coaches really push for you. And maybe at Georgia, they weren't doing that because they had so many other options, I'm sure, at all the positions. I mean, their O-line, I'm sure, is also top notch, but you know what I mean? So anyway, he's one of the gems of this class. I'm really excited to have him. Offensive line as a whole, I mean, getting Tyler Dwell from Westchester, another guy with a little bit smaller, but not that much, like 6'5" and a half, 265. So, again, pretty good size at offensive tackle. I mean, Smith is on the interior, but yeah, O line
No, you're
pretty
forgetting
solid.
who are you forgetting?
I'm forgetting
Yeah,
some.
Logan Anthony.
Yeah, Logan.
He's a highly rated 3-star according to 247 too.
Right.
He's an interior offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's also 88. Another Pennsylvania guy. So 6'4", 315. Definitely a really good offensive line class. So you got a tackle, two interior linemen. I mean, this offensive lines look pretty good. I mean, behind Antoine Raymond and all those guys, all the success that they've had. I mean, there's the offensive line plays a big part in that. You might not see it as much, as the skill positions, but that's definitely without that, Cadillac Manis would be rushed. The running game wouldn't have holes. Like, all of that deserves its credit, and it's great to see that the next batch looks pretty good with the measurables and with the recruiting, and these guys could all play.
I'm just
I
excited to
mean,
see what Flats can do with them. I mean,
yeah,
like
I
there's
mean,
nothing else to say there.
there's probably like even higher recruiting, like recruited guys than the ones that we have now that have developed into, like all pro, like, well, maybe not all pro, but they've some of them gotten all Big Ten mentions and stuff like that, and they've definitely been very solid, very serviceable. I mean, the way that the offense performed is a large part due to them as well. So I mean, they've withstood a lot of pressure, maybe not so much against teams like Ohio State, but like against just about everybody else, they've given the offense a chance to win games. And yeah, and then in terms of playmakers, I mean, this team got some of the best too. I mean, Dizier Carter is a 4-star from Virginia. He's been committed since like June 2024, I believe, or I want to say, or July
Yeah, he's been
2024.
committed for a while. I don't think it was June. Some people want to say
I think it was
September or
July, if
was it
I'm not
June?
mistaken, but like a long time ago. Like he's
Yeah.
been, yeah, he's been locked
I
in.
I do know that they also got Elias Koch, who's another
Yeah,
highly rated
Elias
3-star from
Coat.
Pennsylvania. Um, to my knowledge, Penn State was pushing hard for both of them. No,
Mm,
just to throw them in there again.
there we
But
go.
yeah,
Cool.
but
I mean, these guys are both playmakers, and after seeing the success of guys like KJ Duff and Ian Strong, and maybe even DT Sheffield, but especially Strong and Duff, where you're contested catch, big time receiving playmakers. Now they've opened up the can of worms. Could they go elsewhere? Could they go to the NFL? I mean, these guys are at Rutgers doing that. It's definitely opened up the door for the next playmakers to be like, yeah, we could do that at Rutgers. We could be, a big play receiver at Rutgers. And I mean, a little bit on the smaller side, these two. I mean, Carter's 5'11 and a half, 175. Elias Coke is 6'2, 195. I mean, that's slightly smaller than Strong and definitely Duff. But I mean, we also
but
had a
that's
smaller
but
receiver
that's
in Sheffield
also,
a lot. So.
Duff is freakishly tall for a receiver.
Yeah, freakishly. I think Strong is more average size, like where
Yeah,
6'2", 6'3" is about pretty standard. And then I mean 5'11" is a little bit on the smaller side, but I mean that doesn't mean you can't be a playmaker. I mean, like I mentioned, like Sheffield, Black, like a lot of the smaller receivers are on that side. That might mean he's
he
more
could
of a
thrive in the
speedster.
slot too.
Exactly, a slot receiver, we need those. He could be a speedster downfield, but again, these guys could be playmakers. They could become the guys of the future at receiver, and now they have like the examples in guys like KJ Duff and Ian Strong that have done it here at Rutgers. Have really opened up that door for the next batch. So I'm really excited to see these playmakers. They definitely look really good. And then running back, we got Michael Dukes coming in from Detroit, Michigan. I mean, I think he's a pretty solid guy. His high school stats really popped off the chart. I think he was averaging like 10 yards a carry or something. I'm not sure what the competition level is like, but another high 3-star. I think Michigan State was making a push for him, but he decided to choose Rutgers. So I'm excited for that because there's, again, like I mentioned with the receivers, there's a long lineage of running backs at Rutgers now that have made it to the NFL. I mean, so obviously Pacheco, Monangai, Antoine Raymond's proving that you could do it at Rutgers as well. So, I mean, there's been that string of physical bruising backs, that have really made a name for themselves at Rutgers, gotten to the league, and really provided that blueprint that this is a running back school. So I mean, definitely getting the next one
RBU,
in the bunch as well. Yeah, RBU,
RBU,
exactly. Who
because we're
thought we'd
about
be
to
saying
send our
that
third
about?
running back to the league. Give it a year, you know.
Exactly. I know
Um,
Pacheco winning Super Bowls with the Chiefs, and Monangai, the way what he's done with Chicago, the Bears, and I mean Antoine
Most people
Raymond's
forget
likely
Gus
back then.
Edwards. He's
Exactly,
still
the
there.
bus, right? The
The
bus. Yeah.
bus.
Yeah.
But yeah, first of all, Michael Dukes, very highly recruited by Michigan State. Kind of surprised he didn't flip. It sounded like he was going to flip. As we all know, Adam Shaw, the linebacker, flipped at the
Right.
beginning of the season. Not the season, sorry, at the beginning. He flipped. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. But yeah, Michigan State was pushing hard for them. I will say this: the people at Toledo, who he originally committed to, Michael Dukes, he originally committed to Toledo. They are very good talent evaluators in the MAC. So
It's
they
interesting.
all,
Yeah, because Toledo's been one of the best teams in the MAC for years and years. I mean, they had the upset of Mississippi State last season. They've always been among the top of that league. So I mean, I could definitely I'll take your word on that one for sure.
yeah, not even just that, but if there's a trend that Toledo will get in on somebody early, have them commit, and then have like a Power 4 program just
Flip.
pluck them away, pluck them away. So as
Unfortunate,
much as
but
I
yeah.
feel bad for people in Toledo town, um, they have very good talent evaluators, and Power 4 programs recognize that.
Huh.
Yeah,
Right.
it's just something I thought I would add. Something I hear a lot just by like being vigilant in the recruiting spheres and whatnot as much as I
Right.
can.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've heard that too, actually, about Toledo. So yeah, I mean that, like I said, that does make like a lot of sense. So it's good that we picked up on on him and flipped him over here.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
was able to
interesting.
stave off Michigan State, who made like several
Right,
big
exactly,
moves for
because
him.
we're kinda in the middle where we're, like, bigger than some programs, equal to some other ones, and smaller than some other ones, so that all comes into play, like, in these recruiting battles, I'm sure, but like it
Yeah,
does in the
absolutely.
actual games as well, but, another offensive tackle that like we didn't even mention was, from New Jersey, Cameron Green, massive size,
Mm-hmm.
6'7", 315, 87, 3-star. So another big get there at the tackle. So two interior guys, and then two tackles in Dwell and Green. So I mean, massive size. I mean, these guys are gigantic. So I don't know. That just sounds really promising. Honestly, that's the kind of guys you want up front, and then having a guy like Flaherty to really develop them
Well,
into.
actually, if you remember back during the recruiting cycle, or I guess the bulk of it, Cameron Green was actually a Flaherty recruit. Flaherty went down there himself to get him in, which is why Flaherty's contract is at the end of the year. My whole perspective being on that is, why would Flaherty go and recruit? Because he landed two recruits this cycle. It was Cameron Green, and I don't quite remember the other one, whoever he was in on. But my whole thinking is, why would he go and recruit these guys if he didn't intend on coaching them soon? Because he wasn't much of a recruiter before this, but
Mhm.
he went out of his way and became an active recruiter, which, like I said, he doesn't do that much.
Right.
I just thought it was a little bit interesting that this is a Flaherty recruit, and he showed that he did a little bit. I
Yeah.
would be surprised
Hmm.
if he didn't want to coach the people that he recruited to come here.
Makes sense. Yeah, I'm sure like that's probably a big role in it. Obviously, you want to coach those guys. You see the potential in them. That's why you push for them, and then once they come, you help them. You mold them into the type of player that they could be, and I guess ideally help them get to the NFL, but also have a productive career, improve the play of the team. Like all these things go hand in hand. Like you might think, oh, it's recruiting, like whatever, but all the stuff really matters in the long run. Like so, whether it takes a few years or not. But yeah, I mean that all definitely plays a role in getting the guys and wanting to coach them. I'm sure. So like I totally agree with your point there. But I think another position on the offense that is worth noting, especially for Rutgers, is the tight end position because they got a couple guys there that I was pretty excited about in the summer. I think one more pass catching, one more blocking, but both of them are pretty solid playmakers. DJ Howard from North Carolina, another 3-star, high 3-star, 87, 6'4", 220, and then
To my
his name.
knowledge, Howerton is a little bit more of a blocker than he is a pass catcher. Um, there's not much film
Right.
of him catching passes, but adding him, we run the ball. We run the ball
Yeah,
probably a
exactly. We don't
lot
really,
more.
yeah, we don't tend to use like our tight ends as like playmakers. So obviously, a blocking tight end is huge, and Howard definitely fits that bill. Um,
Hmm.
and then getting a guy like Brady Owens, I think he's a little bit more like a little bit of both, but he's also I think he was like the first person I did like a recruiting, like like did the actual article for. So I remember doing that one, but
Oh yeah, I think
I'm pretty sure
so.
he's like a little bit more like a mix on playmaking as well. So yeah, and also from Virginia too. So no, Howard is from North Carolina, but they definitely been targeting these areas, which I know we'll also get to that part as well. But I mean, having a little bit of both. Like I think Owens is also more of a receiver, and then the other Howard's more of like a blocker, but I'm sure both could do a little bit of both. I mean, it's good to have that size and that option in the offense because those passes have been really working for us like for a couple years now, and I've been saying it. Throw it into the flat, it picks up yardage. It's a great option, and I
No,
mean,
we
I
don't do
love
that.
seeing.
Not here.
We don't
We
really
don't do
do
that
that.
here.
Yeah, I wish we did it more. I mean, it tends to work whenever they do. They do it because they do it so rarely, I guess. But yeah, but I mean, Kenny Fletcher had a great game on the way out at tight end. He caught some downfield passes. He was a very athletic, and I mean, like that definitely does help. But obviously, I wish they did more of it, use that talent. But getting another couple of tight ends in this offense that really fit the Shiano bill of like having a blocking tight end, extension of the O line, but who can also help move the chains, and guys like Brady Owens and yeah, and DJ Howard in as well. So I mean, good size, good recruiting there. And that's pretty much all the offensive positions except for they got a quarterback as well. Xavier Stern from in the 2026 class. He tried to get one quarterback per cycle usually, so they have a full depth chart. Obviously at quarterback we're looking at Sarace taking over next year, but right now it's an open quarterback competition. Looks like they got another guy his stats look pretty good in high school as well. Definitely a very capable passer. So I mean, what are your thoughts on Xavier Stern?
I mean, to be fair, from what I have seen, he seems to be a little bit more of a pocket passer. Um, although I don't know if it's that he can't run. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's that he just has cinder blocks tied to his feet. I don't know. But I
Right.
do understand that he's a little bit more of a pocket passer. I did read somewhere that he didn't have the greatest performance at an Under Armour camp, which ran through New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, according to that same report, the wide receivers at the Under Armour camp were just completely terrible. So
Oh, that's not great.
I just don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what
Right.
that means.
That's weird because you
I
usually want,
just
yeah, you want to have good receivers for your Under Armour camp, and those are also receivers
no.
that, well, obviously, but I mean, like you also want to, those receivers are also trying to make a name for themselves, and it's not just like you bring in random guys just so the quarterback can shine. It's a little bit of both, I'm sure. So it's
I feel like I feel
strange.
like this is just one of those because I feel like this is one of those you have to trust Shiraka on this. I mean, I feel like
Right.
Shiraka has earned the trust in his ability to
Yeah.
evaluate quarterbacks. I mean, you know,
Rick Callahan obviously bringing him from
Alec
Minnesota
Manis.
and seeing how that went. He was also not really the best when he came to Rutgers. Like he was not too much better than Wimsatt, like statistically, and like the leaps and bounds that Callahan has had since coming to Rutgers has just been like it's been incredible. And obviously a lot of that has to do with the O line and the receivers and stuff like that. But I mean, just him putting the ball on the money. I mean, like time and time again for this team has been sensational, sensational. So yeah, no,
He's
I
an
definitely try.
intelligent player. If there's
Yeah, he
anything
just
that he
he makes
has
the
that's
right
going for him is
reads.
that he has the mind.
Right, he doesn't tend to make too many, like, boneheaded mistakes, I guess, although, there were a couple, but, like, overall, he's a very smart, reliable player. Not the most athletic. He does have a pretty solid arm, definitely, but, I mean, like, not like he's not over the top, like, athletic but, he doesn't have, like, the best of the best physical traits, but he is very solid and, yeah, very mentally, y fluent. He processes the game very well. Sometimes he tends to hold on to the ball too long, but other than that, I mean, the way that he makes he makes his throws, I mean, he really does know
My
how to
argument is just
get the
that
receivers
Shiraka has
open.
earned our quarterback trust. You know,
Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, with seeing how Ethan's, compared to what we've had in the past, Ethan's been night and day, and getting the best out of these receivers. I mean, like really putting the ball in tight windows, throwing them downfield, hitting the guys in stride. Like he's really done it all. The receivers have made some crazy catches, but he's put the ball in spots to really open up this attack, and he's also made like simpler throws too that have kept the drives alive. So he's done a good job. Yeah, I mean, I guess like people like to call Chiraka like, like I remember they used to call him like Air Chiraka and stuff like that, which I thought was which I thought was pretty good. But hopefully some more of that because I really like that nickname when that came about. And yeah, I mean, like you said, like you want to get one quarterback per class. Like I believe right now they have a few other ones. They have Cerise, Aschenfelder, Rainone, and having him to be in there fill out the room. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, offensively, like this team does look pretty set for the future. I think another, like I guess before I switch over to the defensive side of the ball, I mean, he's listed as an athlete, but one guy I'm really excited about is R.J. Wortman. Played a lot of receiver at Colonia. Had a
oh
ridiculous stats,
yeah,
like a ridiculous stats, like over 1,300 yards in like 11 games type things, and over
he
100.
had
And he's just
over 100 catches for the season.
yeah,
That
just
is
a straight
pretty much
baller,
unheard of in high school ball, especially in New Jersey. That's almost
right?
unheard of.
Yeah, those are like I mean college NFL stats. I mean that means their quarterback must have been throwing them the ball like almost every time. Like I mean that's just it's nuts. Like that
And if
is
you look at, because I had the opportunity to watch a couple of his plays. He you know he was catching passes downfield. He was catching passes in the midfield. He was
mhm,
catching like screen passes almost and just blowing past everybody.
a
I have
very
a
versatile type of receiver.
Yeah, I have a very good feeling we might have another Johnny Langan on our hands.
Ooh,
Because he
Johnny Langham
even
was a lot of fun.
I was gonna say he even took some. I guess they were kind of like passes, but they were more like pitches, and just went off with them. You know,
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this
and
kid because like I'm very
Having a
excited.
utility player like that is a huge
Right? It's
boost to
rare,
any
yeah, it's like a
defense.
Swiss Army knife type player. I mean, it's almost like, I mean, he could kinda do it all at the position. Now, what level of competition? I don't know because, I mean, obviously Colonia, that's, that's not far from where I am, so I know, like, what kind of school he's going against, but, I mean, they're not exactly like the Catholic powerhouses that, will be winning the championships, but, I mean, he's been absolutely dominating at that level of competition, doing just about everything a receiver can. And I'm really glad we have a guy like that on the team. And he's also played at defensive back. He's played on special teams. He's returned punts. Like I'm really excited to see what he does on the next level. I mean even if he isn't one of the guys immediately, I mean, he's going to get himself on the field. He's going to be, I'm sure, on
He's a
special
Swiss
teams.
Army
Seems like
knife. He'll find a
yeah, he
position
could do a little bit of
somewhere.
everything. He could probably have, like I don't know. I mean, maybe he could end up becoming like a Sheffield or like a, or maybe a another guy like that we had, like a Christian Dremel who, ended up kind of doing a little bit of everything, and he even led the team in receiving because that's where the receiving core is at. But that's a guy who was like also a little bit under recruited that got himself onto the field and had a big impact. And I don't know. I'm seeing a little bit of some sort of similarities there. I don't know if that's going to pan out the way I think it will, but I think there's a chance. And that's almost on a lower end. I mean, if he really becomes like a playmaker, he could become a bigger time playmaker, but that's almost like on the lower end. He could be like a guy like, a Dremel or someone like that who's reliable, who's available, who contributes on special teams, things like punt returning, things like that. But we'll see. Either way, I'm really excited to see what he could do. I know he was at Maine. He obviously flipped. Right now he's listed as an athlete. He's probably going to be on special teams first, and then as a receiver, I would think with those types of stats. But definitely a guy you want to have on the team and see where his ceiling really is at because it looks really good. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for him, but let's take a look at some of these defensive players.
yeah,
I will say that the highest rated out of the defensive players that we got, according to 247, is edge rusher Ronaldo Callaway,
yeah,
or Ronaldo Callaway. The third, he is sorry, he currently stands at 6'5", 205 pounds.
yeah.
Um, Keep in mind that YD Collier was also supposed to be part of this class as
Right,
defense,
right,
but
right, right.
this is another good pickup for for this defense. Another four-star edge rusher, and if there's one thing that Rutgers has lacked in recent years, it's those players that can generate sacks.
Yeah,
So we
we saw it
absolutely
this
need
year
more
too.
players like that who can um, generate sacks and be able to put pressure on the quarterback. And this seems like another really good get. He has that like longer wingspan and whatnot. You know, has that like leaner build. It seems like they're going for a more of a traditional defensive end build rather than what they've gone for in the past with like Aaron Lewis, where you have like the big guy. You know, but
Right,
this
right,
this
right,
is
right.
more lean, athletic, pass rusher type
Mm.
defensive end build.
Yeah, I mean, no, definitely. We definitely do need someone to get sacks, and I don't know. Obviously, it's just a little disappointing with seeing what happened with O'Neal and Weaver, who almost became like very good run stoppers towards the end of the year. I mean, like definitely had an impact there, but definitely want to get some guys around the edge who can rush the passer, stuff like that as well. And he definitely fits the bill. I think highest defensive recruit of the class because I think the other guy Chris Hewitt flipped to Georgia and he was like a
Yes,
four
he
star.
did.
That's unfortunate, but yeah, no, Callaway I'm
With
excited
no
for. He's
official
another,
visit, might I add.
huh?
According to his 247 timeline, Chris Hewitt never took an official visit over to Georgia Tech and still flipped anyway.
Oh,
That to
that's
me just doesn't make sense. I'm sure
yeah,
maybe
no, no,
it's
no.
the inaccuracy of the timeline that could be, but if he really did do that, that's just like
That's
why
unfortunate,
would you
but
not like go there first?
right, like, see, who knows? I don't know. I don't know how these things work at the end of the day, but like, I mean, it's unfortunate, but yeah, like things like that do happen. I mean, he's probably from there. I mean, he is from there, so maybe he's been at least to games and on an unofficial capacity, things like that. Like, who knows? But anyway, I mean, in terms of guys like Callaway, like really good. Another guy from Georgia, by the way, another physical, has the tools. Yeah, I like that kind of like athletic build that he can, maybe not the bulkiest guy, obviously only 205 pounds, a little bit underweight for an edge rusher or lower weight, but I mean, he could definitely he could definitely, he's definitely very athletic, definitely can rush the passer. I mean, yeah, I'm really excited to have him around, or have him on the team. I guess a defensive line. We're looking at Reese Beck coming in from Florida, 6'5", 250, 85 3-star. He was another guy that we got in the summer that kind of has like that high upside, has a high motor, a bigger guy. Jermaine Polk is another one, 6'4" from Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. Which we were just talking about that, but that's
Yeah,
another defensive line commit as well. And then Donovan Johnson from North Carolina. All of these
he's
guys are
actually an
3 stars
interesting
as well.
case because we don't know if he's going to play defense or offense just yet. It actually sounds like he might be leaning offense, but with how desperate they are getting with interior defensive linemen, it also
Right.
sounds like he could flip to defense if he like slims down and really builds up. They might do it out of necessity,
Yeah.
depending on how we do in this portal, because we are hurting for defensive linemen, interior defensive linemen.
Yeah, and Thompson's
But
obviously leaving, the offseason this
yeah,
year. So
and we're
yeah.
also just not good in that area to begin with.
Mm.
You know.
No, definitely not. Like there's against in the run and the pass, honestly. But yeah, I mean, they haven't exactly been great stopping the run, and a lot of that comes from right there up front. Once you get past that, all bets are off kind of thing. So, you need like a good defensive lineman, especially in the middle. The pass rush was also very non-existent. So anywhere you can get that. But definitely the D tackles, yeah, they might end up having to play having all of those guys out of necessity, at least for depth in that position group. Guys like Polk and Donovan Johnson and
No, I
Reese
was
Beck,
just I was just
guys like
talking
that.
about Johnson in particular because if you look at Johnson's actual profile, it says offense. But if you look at his like recruiting
That's
profile on the
interesting.
signees, it says defense. So
Hmm.
that's why I was just like, it
Yeah,
sounds like he's leaning more towards offense. It sounds like he might be more of a lineman, and if so, it's another good lineman pickup.
right.
But if not, then we
Right,
still
it
need
says
the
"old
defensive
lineman,"
lineman.
yeah, on its profile there, so, yeah, I mean, it doesn't never hurts to have someone who could go on either side, and, I mean, D lineman, I think Polk is, like, a bigger guy or I don't know if he's bigger, but he's definitely, like, an exciting prospect as well, and so is Beck, so, I mean, like, I'm excited to see what the 2 of them got.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, moving down the list a little bit here, just keeping things rolling. A little bit lighter of a linebacker class. Tanner Raymond from Choate Rosemary Hall. I hope I said that right. In Connecticut, 6'3", 220 pounds, and Joey Kopech from Ohio,
Yeah,
6'2", 200 pounds. Um, I would not be. I don't know too much about either of these prospects. I will be honest with you. I'm not too well versed on them. I would not be surprised if Raymond turns out to be a really good player, though, because players in upstate New York and Connecticut and like Maine, Boston, they tend to
right,
get
overlap,
severely overlooked and say they don't play major competition compared to kids that play down south.
right,
So, the fact that he's like
yeah,
number 4 in Connecticut, he could be a
that's fair.
player. He could be a player. Maybe
Right,
a hidden 4 star that went under the radar as a 3 star because people
could be.
just think, oh, the competition's not that steep up there. Whatever. You
Right,
know,
right, right.
if you can play, you can play.
That's
But
true, yeah.
yeah, and a lot of historical powerhouses like Penn State, Michigan, Notre Dame, they've all made their living by feasting off of those kids in the Northeast who go underrated. It could be
True.
the scenario here. It could not be. I just felt like that was something worth mentioning.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, Connecticut, you don't really think of that, like, college football. I mean, it's bad enough around here, and then like when you go like even further north, they definitely get like overlooked even more, I would say. So, yeah, it
Absolutely.
makes a lot of sense. And then, I mean, Kopech from Ohio. I mean, it seems like we've been getting a lot of guys from like states like that, Michigan, Ohio, especially Ohio. I mean, there's like Weaver coming through the portal from there, but even recruiting wise, like Jermaine Polk, Joey Kopech. I feel like there's been a few others over the years, but it seems like we're really hitting on that Midwest. We're hitting on the South. Southeast especially. So I mean, yeah, hopefully these guys are pretty good. Obviously, like Jabome's leaving the portal. We have some younger guys that are gonna step in. I mean, Abram
Joe,
Wright,
the DJ Bowman is leaving because he's
he's
graduating.
graduating. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, yeah, he's graduating. And behind them, I mean, there's other guys like Abram Wright, DJ McClary. There's like some younger guys in there that
The
are gonna
younger
step
guys are going
in.
to take a bigger step up. This linebacker core, book it right now, is going to be very good in the future because they
All
have
those
all
guys
those
are
four
very
stars.
Yeah, all those 4 stars that are coming in that were very highly recruited. I think there's another one too, like besides Wright and McClary as well to fill that one out. But yeah,
Um,
they're all pretty good. I think.
the kid from the Hun school. I'm blanking on his name.
Mm.
Kamar Archie.
Yeah, Kamar Archie. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's
I
another one that has the physical tools that 4-star coming out of high school. Yeah, I mean all these guys are going to be very solid. Well, they're already like Big Ten size. I can't wait to see. And then right in front of them, he's been injured a lot, but I mean I think he's gonna kind of step into that. Obviously, no more. We won't have Jabome, so we'll see. But
Sam
I mean, like,
Robinson's been developing.
yeah, exactly. He's been developing as well, Sam Robinson. So that's another guy who could see some more playing time next season. Probably will have to out of necessity. But yeah, yeah, I mean linebackers looking solid, D line looking solid. I guess that brings us over to secondary. That looks very solid too, very
You
exciting.
don't mind if I take over here? Sorry, I'm really excited to talk about
All
this
right.
secondary. So I will say, if there's any position group that they have done their best in the in the recruiting, it is the corners and the safeties. I mean, first of all, Brandon Murray, Blur, that's his nickname. He
Blur,
runs,
yeah.
I believe it was a 4.5 40 time, if I'm not mistaken. He's listed as 6'1", 180 pounds, and 89 on 247, which is one away from a 4-star.
Yeah.
Devontae Anderson, he just flipped to us from
Yeah. What a nice flip.
Louisville at the beginning of the week. He's 6'1", 185, listed as an 87. And then JJ Jamarius Conyers,
Kanye.
6'1", 173 pounds, 87 overall. And then Sebastian Cruz just to round it out. Safety,
Mhm.
86. He, again, this is probably the one group to be most excited about. Um,
Yeah,
we
definitely.
know that despite the troubles this year, that Shiano has a very good track record of putting these guys in the league. You
Mhm.
know, I can't imagine that they're not going to make a change in that area on defense to get back to their normal standard of secondary play. But I will say these guys have the tools and they have a lot of speed. That's what they were
Yeah, they're
recruiting.
very,
They were,
very, very quick.
yep. If I'm not mistaken, they've recruited a bunch of like track stars, you know, who maybe it's Murray that was an All American in
Hmm,
track.
I think so. That's yeah. I mean, that's the one that stands out speed wise.
Yeah, he was a several time All American in track in high school. So that's what their philosophy is get these like freakish athletes in and then develop the football around them. I'm okay with that. Because if you have the
Me
tools
too.
that can be
Especially yeah,
molded like a lump of clay, you know, why
yeah,
not?
yeah.
Why not?
Right.
So
Right,
that's
exactly. Especially with the track record Chiano has with the secondary. I mean, before RBU is definitely the McCourty twins, so many other guys that that's what really Rutgers is known for in the league, and I mean, like obviously that's there, but yeah, these recruits, I mean, they're good. They're they have ball skills, but I think more than
well,
anything, they're quick.
you got to think about it. Logan Ryan, the McCourty twins,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Logan
Max
Ryan,
Melton,
right? Yeah,
Eric Rogers,
right.
Robert
Even
Longerbeam.
yeah, just all the guys that we had this last season, all of them, went to the NFL pretty much the entire longer
Yeah.
being Rogers, the guy from NIU who came here. Oh yeah, that's Rogers. But there's a few other guys
Bo
also.
Masco is probably going there.
Yeah, he looks really pretty good. I mean, there's been other ones too, but I mean over the past couple of years. But those are the ones I think of yeah, longer beam obviously, Eric
Christian
Rogers,
Izian.
Izzy, and there we go. Yeah, I mean the Rutgers secondary has just been very top notch for quite a few seasons now. So I mean, well, except for this one, but before that, like they sent like a lot of the guys to the league, and even though they not all of them have really bloomed in the league, they've still gotten there, and a lot of them have actually too. On top of that, so but yeah, I mean, yeah, like these
I
guys
was
do
going to
look
say, I
pretty
understand
solid.
that this group did not do so well this season, but they have enough of a track record overall that can make me believe that what happened this season was a minor blip on the radar rather than the new status quo, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
In the secondary.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think more of a blip because so many other guys, like, I mean, have even in this draft, Desmond Igmanosin, Jaquan Loyal, um,
Hmm.
Eric Rogers, obviously we mentioned that, and then Robert Longerby. I mean, all of those guys, pretty much the entire secondary went to the league, like in the draft, and we're like, oh, these are all Rutgers guys and whatever, but they still got there. And Max Melton, he was a first, not first, but he was I think second round draft pick or
Second
something like.
rounder. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Very, a starter in Arizona, very good. Bill Melton obviously plays like a lot more receiver, but he went. But yeah, I mean, that entire secondary from last season pretty much went to the league. Like all 4 or 5 guys, like Longerbeam, Igmanosin, Loyal, Rogers. I mean, they all went. So I mean,
Hmm.
Christian Braswell from a couple years ago, he's been very good.
Oh, I forgot about him.
That's another. Yeah, I mean, he was drafted, I believe, 6th round. So there's just been a lot of guys like that have really made a name for themselves coming out of Rutgers. Like Trey Avery, that's another one. But I mean, I forgot about some of these guys honestly. But like, I mean, they've all been there. Like, and now some of the receivers are now coming out from Rutgers and the running backs, obviously. But really, I mean, the secondary's been really good in the NFL, and that's why a lot, and it has that track record still. This year, obviously, very very abnormal. But hopefully getting guys like these in the recruiting class can help fix the issues. Devontae Anderson, that was a late flip, so very excited about that one as well. And then Brandon Murray, I'm definitely very excited about too. So I mean, yeah, and then Cruz at safety, obviously you need some safeties. They can't all be corners, but like so having someone like that, as a confirmed safety is also pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this. Like this, the secondary does look very solid, and Conyers as well, cornerback. A lot of Florida guys are guys from the South again. But yeah, I mean they all look pretty good. So I'm excited to see who ends up developing, into the starters down the line. I guess for Rutgers.
Yep. Absolutely. But unfortunately, with every addition, there must be some subtractions. Um, as we all know, the transfer
Right.
portal opened on Wednesday, or at least the ability for players to enter the transfer portal opened on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and Rutgers has already seen 3 players enter the portal. Um,
I think it's
those
still
are
clearing. Like I don't think the actual portal open yet because I've been seeing like they announced their intent to enter once it does or something like that. But
respectfully, I've been trying to figure this out. I think this is like now when you can announce that you're
you
going
can
to
announce,
enter
yeah, because a lot of people have
something,
announced officially that they will enter.
but
So
it hasn't happened.
yeah, it's
I
weird. The
don't.
calendar is very strange with college football right now. It's recruiting, it's conference championships, it's the portal. Like a lot of people is like, a lot
Oh,
of
it's
people
getting a new head coach season.
that too.
Even
Yeah,
if you're in the playoff,
right. Yeah, yeah. I've never like the Lane Kiffin thing is just something
this
for
is
another
so
time.
sad. I
But
feel
like,
so bad for those
I know
players.
it's so ridiculous. Like I mean, I understand if it was like a really a bad team, and then like, but a team like this that's going to the playoff. I mean, like, what do you tell your
Those players, you really just told them to, go screw yourself. That's
Yeah, I mean,
essentially
it's
what
just
what
unbelievable.
these
Like
poor
the
players.
way the disrespect he handled the situation with the players, with the fans, with the media. I mean, it's just like it's ridiculous. Like, there's, you know what I mean. There's other guys who have flipped, but the way that he just like he did it and gave everybody hell at Ole Miss for weeks, like it's really unforgivable. Like honestly, like I mean, I really have no words. I hope it works out for Kiffin because I have a feeling it's not going to work out the way he thinks it will in a few years. But yeah.
We'll save that for
We'll see.
another time.
We'll see.
Um,
Yeah.
but we do have to talk about some players leaving. First of all, return man slash wide receiver Dane Partridge has entered the portal. he hasn't really played from Rutgers. I believe he
Yeah,
played
he
like
hurt.
10 snaps or
Yeah, I
something
was
like
doing
that.
the article on him
He
and
didn't really
Brown.
play that much.
Yeah, I think he saw some snaps. I don't even know if he touched the ball. He might have like had like one return. It didn't even look like it based on like what ESPN had on his stats. So as it is, Rutgers like is very reluctant to run the ball out, and on top of that, I don't even think they had him line up for fair catches for most of the year. So I think they had like Ben
No, it
Black,
was mostly DT
Sheffield.
Sheffield, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Sheffield. He didn't even really get an opportunity to like be an electrifying returner, even though
Not a
he was
lot.
known for that in North Texas, and that's disappointing because another thing from that Penn State game was Penn State's they had I think they had like Allen or Singleton, like one of those, like maybe Singleton running out kicks, and they got to like the 40 a lot of possessions, and Rutgers is just like,
Yeah.
we'll just take a knee, like whatever. But I mean, I guess on one hand you do start at the 25, which if you run it out you're taking a risk, and I don't know, I think part of it
But
comes from
if the kick is to like the 15, you can probably gain
right? That's what
15
I'm
yards.
saying. At the
So
minimum, you probably get to 20. I don't know. I think part of it's like Shiano with like, what happened with Eric Grant. I think that, and like he's been against kickoffs from that. That might be part of it.
I don't
Another,
think so.
we don't think
I
it's
don't
that.
think so because we had Janorian Grant after
That's
that.
true.
You
But
know?
then he's also had guys like, when Christian Dremel, like, well, he only returned a couple. But I think it depends on the year, and it depends on, like you said in the beginning of the season, depends on the year, the personnel. Maybe this year just didn't think the guys had it. I don't know. Or you just didn't want to take the risk and lose the ball. I
Maybe
don't
he
I
didn't
don't
think he had the
know.
blockers for it.
Maybe
That could
that,
have been
yeah, because they had a lot of special teams guys get injured over the course of the season. Like, I would
right.
look at the depth chart and be like, oh, those don't really matter that much because they don't really play. But those they do play on special teams, and like maybe it's that because I don't know to not give DT Sheffield even a shot to return the kicks just doesn't seem right with
It doesn't
me.
sit right now.
I mean, I know Patel's done very good. Jacob Anderson's done very good. The kicking and punting has been very good at Rutgers, but in terms of returning the kicks and the punts, like there just hasn't really been any of it to speak of. So it's like you can't even really say whether it's good or bad because it's just not really been there. And Partridge, who they brought in for that reason, really didn't get any shot at anything really, from what I understand. So he's not really a good enough receiver to really be. I mean, Northern Illinois, I think he did,
Yeah.
but even there, he wasn't really one of the guys. I think his main role is probably, to contribute is being a returner, and probably that's about it. So, I understand his decision to leave the
But he
poor.
wasn't even going to be the first returner. So,
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't even the first returner. He was nowhere near the depth chart for wide receiver. I mean, there was
yeah, that was
reserves
just
that were ahead of him. So yeah, it just didn't work out. I was hoping it kind of would, at least from a return man standpoint, because sometimes you don't want to have your star receivers in that role. You want to have somebody else, but
right.
that's not what Gianna thought. I don't know what he was thinking, but it definitely wasn't that. But so, with that being said, I mean, do wish him the best. Seems like a good player, a good person, all of those things. But yeah, I mean, not really the most consequential exodus. I mean, the running back room, on the other hand, has lost a couple in Sam Brown and CJ Campbell. Both of those different stories. I mean, CJ Campbell also unfortunate because he got injured 3 games in against Norfolk State, was done for the season. He was getting some carries, like splitting it with Raymond. Like it's like it's like a Thunder Lightning duo kind of thing. When Raymond's more like the Thunder, CJ Campbell has that speed, that elusivity. He has an ability to catch passes, but obviously all of that went away when he was injured. And Deshaun Benjamin kind of fit in his role pretty nicely, I would say. But Campbell kind of brought an element. Obviously, didn't really get to see too much of him. But I think like with Antoine Raymond and Deshaun Benjamin, he kind of realized that there wasn't really too much of a role for him. I think that's the main reason he left. It's his final year of
You just,
eligibility as well.
I was going to say, do you just want to touch on that? I think there is a little bit of a silver lining with all of this. First of all, you know, I feel really bad for Sam Brown. I think he could have
That him
been
too, yeah,
I think he could have
100%.
been a heck of a player. I just, I think he
And
got too injured, and now it's
And even when he wasn't
he
in,
got that
yeah, I was
bum.
like, I think I was reading about his career. Like, I mean, his first year, he kind of broke out and then he got injured. Sophomore year, I think they just didn't really play him a lot. And then junior year, he was
Because
starting to,
Monungai broke out. That's
yeah,
the
that was
reason.
the reason for that, right? That was Kyle
Yeah,
Monungai's Big Ten rushing leading season,
yeah.
where he won the crown over 1,000 yards, all that good stuff. But yeah, and then
The
junior
junior
year,
season.
he started seeing more touches, but then he ended up getting injured again. I
Hmm.
believe I don't even know when he got injured, like Nebraska or Wisconsin or something
I
like
thought it
that.
was the Washington
It might
game.
have
No, he
been
scored in
Washington.
the Washington
I
game,
remember
and
he
he
was
got
scoring
injured in
touchdowns.
Nebraska.
Yeah, because he was scoring touchdowns against, I was reading Virginia Tech and Washington, which are, by the way, really big games last year. But and then after that, I think he got injured. So again for the rest of the year. So that's just like, I don't know, man. Like it's just it's always something with him. Like it was like
Yeah,
he's
just so
either he
bad.
wasn't getting time or he was injured or both or like I don't know. Like and then this year he kind of had a red shirt. Um, so, yeah, this year he had a red shirt. He only played in 4 games. He saw more time
Well,
obviously
no,
after
he
Campbell
didn't redshirt. Redshirt means you
or
play in three or less games.
3 or
However,
less.
he just wasn't healthy enough. The guy was so beat up from his previous injuries that it took him so long to get back
Right.
to optimal
Yeah, yeah,
performance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He ended up getting in towards the end of the season more
Hmm.
so, like Ohio State, Penn State. I think even for the Illinois and Minnesota, I think he saw some snaps. But I think they wanted him as like Shiano was saying they wanted him as like a bigger back because the Ohio State defensive line is like so big, so you want to have something to combat that. Obviously, didn't really work so well, but I mean, I think that's why they ended up
Because with his
kind of
injuries, I
bringing.
felt like he had no power left. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Because he's also another one of those power backs, like primarily, not so much of. I guess Benjamin and Campbell are more like I said, the Lightning, and he's also kind of like a thunderback, like Raymond or Monangai. But yeah, I mean, he kind of lost a lot of that. It's unfortunate. It's like what could have been because he could have been really good. He was a four
he was a
star.
4-star. Yeah,
Yeah, he's a four-star coming from Philly, and he scored 100 yards and touchdown against Indiana, and that was his breakout game. We're like, "Whoa, we have a running back!" And then he missed most of his sophomore year. He didn't play a lot in his or his yeah, he did. He missed all of the rest of his freshman year. Didn't play a lot in the sophomore year. Junior year, he also gets injured. I don't know, man. It's just
it's an
it really is
unfortunate.
sad, but yeah,
It's
I mean, sometimes
unfortunate.
things like that happen, but it's really unfortunate. I don't know. I mean, hopefully he has a good final year. I don't know what his role would have been like next year. I mean, it looks like I'm really happy with the way our running back room looks. With I think Benjamin and Raymond. I think especially he's going to be an absolute beast. But I hopefully he has like one more year where he can be a starter. He can at least be like a key reserve somewhere because he definitely has the talent for it. Obviously, it's just not going to be here, I guess. So but 2 backs
Yeah,
down, I guess, out of this backfield now. So we have a
I
lot of
will.
reserves and other guys
I
behind
was gonna
them
say. I
as
will
well.
say
Yeah.
this. I will say this. The fact that Campbell transferred out gives me faith that Raymond's coming back. You
Yeah,
know,
I think there is some intel there, some reason to believe that because, if Campbell, yeah, I mean, I think Campbell would have, I mean, even with Raymond, I mean, yeah, that means I think that means probably you're right. I think that means Deshaun Benjamin and Raymond are going to be like the guys that they rely on, but especially Raymond
well,
because he just completely broke out, and I think Campbell, he wants more touches, and he's also pretty. He had
he
a
wants
really
to be a
good season.
starter. He's gonna go
Yeah,
somewhere where he can be a starter.
he had a good season at FAU, and I think if he was healthy, I think him and Raymond would have shared more
One
carries,
A,
and
one B. Yeah,
maybe, yeah. I think Raymond still would have been the better one, but I think Campbell would have been definitely in there. He would have definitely been the 1B, but because of his injury, obviously he couldn't. And I feel like we saw a lot less of Deshaun Benjamin throughout the rest of the season as well.
because
Um,
Raymond became the every down back.
yeah, they didn't even need like a second back. And then towards the end, Sam Brown came in a little bit, but he hardly, you know what I mean? Raymond was just like the 1A, 1B, and 1C. So it's just kind of like, we don't
Hmm.
really need, he was just carrying the entire offense at sometimes, like up to the point where Penn State, in Maryland, like 240 yards, 41 carries. Penn State, I mean, he had drives where he was like, just they were giving it to him every
Making them look
down.
like children. Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, that's what I was like. I wish they just kept going to him because, like, I want to, you know what I mean? Like, I think
especially
we
on
had
that
to,
fourth down call.
yeah. I mean, yeah. They should have just probably given it to him on either third or fourth down, but that just, like, I don't know why they wouldn't. But if they lose the game by that, then like I could understand because Ben. I mean, I'm pretty sure Raymond, the way he was going, he was, Penn State's D line was backing down. I mean, you know what I mean? They were like bullying them at that point. I guess they were getting tired. I don't know, but I wouldn't think, so with Penn State's line, but it looked like it at that point. And obviously the fumble changed everything. But I guess
Yeah,
my point being, like Raymond, he carried the team on his back, basically like took away, another, they didn't even need a 1B at that point. So I understand like obviously Campbell leaving, Brown, obviously him leaving. I mean, Deshaun Benjamin has been someone that people have been high on for the coaching staff's been high on him for years. He's always flashed. So I feel like if there is going to need going to be a need for a 1B, it's probably going to be him. And then we
Mm-hmm.
have depth behind him. We have guys like Ed Gary or Terrell Mitchell, the guys that haven't really even seen the field yet, but they're there. They're probably going to
Mitchell
be
actually saw some time in Norfolk State and
he
against
did. I
Oregon
think
too.
both of them did actually,
Mm-hmm.
and Guerrier as well. So they do have the depth. It's not like they don't have any depth. And then you add Michael Dukes into the room, so they do have the depth at the position. But starting wise, Raymond 1A, 1B, and 1C, and you got Benjamin in there as well when you need him. So I mean, he can provide that elusivity. That maybe like a Raymond can't, that Campbell also kind of had. So I kind of like having that, like, Thunder Lightning look to it, a shiftier guy, and like obviously your guy who's going to bruise and power through. But yeah, no, I mean, transfer portal, we'll see. I mean, I think the big hope is obviously they keep Raymond, they keep guys like KJ Duff. I mean, we're going to need to see him stay.
They
Ian Strong
retain
might be
Ian
gone.
Strong. Yeah.
Hopefully we retain him too. I don't know what the plan is over there. I think the NIL funds, are I think these players are going to look for that. They're getting offers. Rutgers is going to have to do their best to retain them because I mean that really is, and we what I mean, we really need players like that to stay on this team in the receiving game and yeah, I mean this high powered offense. I hope we do have what it takes to keep guys like that in the fold and they do stick around.
Yeah. And hopefully we grab some positions of need too: defensive tackle,
Yeah,
linebacker,
we need definitely in the portal
defensive
gonna have
back.
to look
We
for
need to upgrade that defense and get some real talent. Yeah.
right because Cam Miller is gonna be leaving. Some of the top guys on that Jet Elad's gonna be going. So some of the best backs on a very bad secondary are gonna be out. So I mean definitely like a need for talent. I guess Masco I think is probably is gonna be there and Henderson and some of the other guys are gonna be coming. But yeah, no, they're gonna are they gonna be returning? Oh, I think Henderson and or Jacoby Henderson and
He should be returning.
yeah, and
Well,
then
here, hold on. We know people that are going to be leaving. It's going to be, first of all, Eric O'Neill, Bradley Weaver,
right.
um, players like Oliver Below,
Yeah, I know Cam Miller and Jet Elad are out of eligibility,
Cam
so
Miller, Jed Elad, Kaj Sanders still has
but yeah,
eligibility. Joe
yeah, yeah.
Masco might be done. I could be wrong
I
there. I
don't know.
don't
I
think
thought
he
he
is.
was. I think he's still gonna
No,
stay.
no, he's not. No. Sorry, Daryl Dijabome, he's done. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Masco's only a sophomore. Yeah, he'll be back. So some of the top, some of the better backs are going to be there. But guys like Miller and guys like Elad, they're going to need to replace at least a couple of defensive backs, and definitely on the edges and the portal on the line. I mean, the line, Jabomi's going to be gone. So there's definitely a need for portal ads, especially in the defensive line like last year. Secondary probably as well. A couple of guys would be good. And then I think Cod Sanders. Obviously, they're probably going to move up guys like that. Jacoby Henderson, Bo Masco. Those are probably going to be like the foundation of the secondary for next season as well.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they attack the portal. Um,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
they do have positions of need. They have to go get them. There's no other way to say it. Just to kind of wrap up the podcast here, we're going to take a quick motion over to basketball real quick. Men's basketball got handled by Purdue, 80, 81 to
Yeah.
65. They have an upcoming game against Michigan at Michigan, number 3 Michigan.
Right.
Landerborg, very good in the paint. It is not looking good for us in the slightest. But,
Yeah.
hey, we
That might
played
be an
Purdue more
understatement.
competitive than I expected us to. I understand that we
Right.
got a bunch of garbage time points to make it look better
Yeah.
than it was.
Yeah.
But I was also expecting like an 80 to 40 blowout. Like,
That's true. Yeah. I mean, the fact that it was 81-65, like, I know a lot of those points came at the end, but, I mean, Akbole was again neutralized after, he kind of went off. He had 2, but he had
hey,
6
they played
bullets.
hard. That's all I
He
can
did
ask
play
for.
hard. It's just Purdue has much more size, and they're on another level. I mean, the way that Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer, the way they can move the ball and shoot and pass, that's like they're on another level. I mean, getting guys in space, like it's just like a different. It's they're playing a different ball game out there. It's like it seems like. I mean, it's just then guys like Trey Kaufman-Renn. I mean, but for Rutgers, I mean, Dylan Grant at 13. Cerno had a pretty solid game. He was knocking down some threes. So and then Michael Davis at 9, Buchanan at 8. So guys did score a bit, and some of the other guys stepped up. They got to play some of their other guys like Kane Powers and their freshman lineup as well. They saw some more time. So I don't know. I mean, I think all in all, it wasn't great, honestly. Like, but at the same time, it could have been worse. And I don't know. I feel like Michigan is going to probably be even harder than Purdue in a lot of ways. I feel like they might be a better team. We'll have to see. They
They're going to
certainly
be
lost.
hard for us in the paint because they
Yeah,
attack.
they have a couple 7-footers over
Yeah,
there. Yeah, so I mean,
not
yeah.
excited about that.
Yeah, I mean they have multiple big guys. I mean, yeah, Landenberg, their center Ademara, he's another 7-foot guy. He has footwork like down. I mean, Landenberg's athletic. Then guards like Elliot Cadeau, who transferred in from Carolina. Trey McKinney, he had 17 last game against the Zags. Namari Burnett. So they have just like a bunch of guys who could score. And Will Shetter, that's another 7-footer to worry about as well. So you got Shetter, you got Landenberg, who's I think almost 7 feet. You got Ademara, their center, who's over 7 feet. So they have a big lineup, and they could shoot the ball well. I mean, they could just, I don't know, they could do about everything well. This team is going to be a dangerous team, come tournament time. I mean, the way that they're rolling through teams right now, whatever it is in the beginning of the season, they've just clearly improved since then. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough one for Rutgers. Not really too much looking forward to that game, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and I don't know. I mean, they came close-ish against Purdue. Not really. They, covered the spread. So
No, they didn't.
they didn't. I thought they did.
I looked that up beforehand, and I found out that the spread just before the game was
I thought it was like
14 points.
really. I thought it was like 16, 17 and a half. I don't know. Maybe different places. Who knows? But and it would have been a backdoor cover anyway. So I mean, like, not really reflective of what the game really was. But at the same time, Michigan, I don't know. I think it's going to be a rough one for Rutgers. If they look anything like they did at the Players era, it's going to be a rough one for Rutgers. Even if they don't, it's probably still going to be a rough one, but maybe a little less. I don't know, but we shall see. I'm excited for the Rutgers Seton Hall game though. In the week after that, that should be. I don't know. I feel like that one's going to be good when Seton Hall also looks a bit better
New
this year.
Jersey's largest rock fight returns to the Prudential Center.
Yeah, back in the Prue this year. I guess last year we had it here. Harper had a buzzer beater. That was pretty exciting. The Seton Hall team is pretty solid, I have to say. I mean, they lost to USC in the Maui, I think, semifinals, I want to say. But I mean, by 2, USC they're ranked. They're a pretty good team in the Big Ten. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Seton Hall they beat Central Connecticut State by 16 points. That's the same team that Rutgers lost to by about the same margin. So if that,
don't say that. Stop saying that. That just pisses.
Yeah, I was just by comparison, but I don't know. I mean, like it could be a tough one, but they still want to go. I mean, it's an exciting atmosphere, game. Like should be a good one. I don't know. Looking forward to it, and definitely easier compared to after Purdue and Michigan. That's a game Rutgers is going to feel like they have a much better chance in a rivalry game. All the things. It's like Rutgers Penn State of football. Like you want to. But except for it's much more competitive. In fact, Rutgers has won the past few matchups there, so should be a good one. Always a good one. Should be a good one. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that pretty much covers where we are with basketball. I mean, Michigan on Saturday. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how that one goes, I guess.
Yeah, it's no easy sledding. The Big Ten is here for 2 games, and then it goes away for 3.
A couple of
Anyway.
right? It's like they come and then they go, but then we get a couple easier games again, and then they're here to stay. So I mean, this is going to be life in the Big Ten for Rutgers in a few games. Ohio State to open up the new year. This isn't the Ohio State football team, by the way, but I think they're still a pretty decent team. Oregon, I mean, from there, you just hit the road sledding. So you got Illinois, you got ranked opponents up and down. Michigan State looks really good this year. I mean, I don't think we have to tell you what to expect from the Big Ten Conference, but I mean, I don't know. Once January starts, it's the gauntlet. But until then, we got the even tougher gauntlet, I guess, that we're in right now, and then a few easier games, and then then Big Ten play starts up again. So we'll see how it goes.
Just in case you didn't understand that, it's gauntlet. easy games, gauntlet again. You
Right.
know?
But this gauntlet's like way like a bit worse because this is 1-3. And in the regular season, you still have unranked Big Ten teams. You have teams like 14 Illinois, and then even more unranked Big Ten teams. So I mean, like you know what I mean. It's a little bit of a different beast, but this week especially. But
Yeah,
once
it's
you get to the
definitely a
big,
tough week.
yeah, this week's like the hardest of the season. Then you have a few easier games, but once you get into Big Ten play, every game's going to be a game where the talent's roughly equal. In fact, Rutgers is probably going to be the underdogs a lot of the time. No more gimmies for the rest of the year, and yeah, we'll see how good Rutgers really is. But this one's a bit of an anomaly in terms of tough competition because it really doesn't get too much tougher than number one Purdue and number three Michigan on back-to-back games for any team.
No, it really doesn't. And I believe this is the toughest week in men's basketball we have had since 2009, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think
I don't know
postseason.
if that's the exact year, but
Yeah,
it goes back that long. But
yeah,
that pretty much does it uh, for our planned attack here
right.
today.
Yeah,
Um,
for signing day.
Yeah, I was gonna say took care of the signing day stuff, recruits, transfer portal. People are now declaring for it, or I guess announcing that they will declare for it
Right,
is a
right,
better way to
right,
put it. And talking about a little bit of men's basketball at the end, just a little bit of a preview of Michigan. They're very good
right.
up and down the board.
Keep in mind, women's basketball plays Iowa on Saturday. It's another ranked team, number 12,
Ooh,
coming to Jersey
yeah,
Mike. So that should be also another good one on Fox Sports, but one of the few nationally televised games. So in terms of Rutgers women's, they seem to be, a bit better, maybe like a bit more optimistic than the men's team. Although they've also been wildly inconsistent, but against a good Hawkeyes team, we'll really get to see where this team is. Against quality caliber competition. Because once Big Ten play starts again, the women's league is also very very competitive. A lot, I think, even more ranked opponents in there. So yeah, I mean, again, this is going to be what we're going to have to get used to. So might as well start early and pack the rack, I guess. Enjoy it. Yeah, all the good stuff.
yeah, pack that rack. All right. As always, thank you guys so much for listening. It really helps if you guys give us a 5 star on Spotify, give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to us on YouTube. It takes a second, but it
Right.
really does help us out. Um, yeah, and again, thank you all so much for listening. And as always, remember that the bells must ring.